Nikki, the school has had gifted and talented students for quite a while, but there's been a change of course, so to speak. What's happened?
Yeah, just at the beginning of this academic year, we were appointed to become a lead school for gifted and talented, which is just a small selection of schools across the country that have been identified by, at government level really, to have been identified as working well in that area. We've still got quite a few areas in which we'd like to improve, but we will start to roll out some of our good practice to other schools in the area and have an effect on the wider population, as well as improving things within our own school.
What does a lead school mean?
A lead school means that this is a status that we had to apply for, and we had to fill in our progress against a list of criteria, and we were very honest about where we were strong and where we still had developments to make, and they took a look at basically our profile overall and decided that we were in a good position to make further improvements, and as I say, to roll out that good practice to other schools in the area.
So how do you identify a gifted and talented student?
Within our school, obviously the first step is the primary schools, because they've been working with these students for a long time in most cases, and we get quite a lot of data from primary schools at the very beginning of year 7. We get the SATs results, and obviously we've got the teacher assessments as well, which give an idea of where teachers felt that they sat, and information verbally from primary schools, and we put that together and make an initial set of people for the Gifted and Talented Register, which is a central place where we record the names of the people that we've identified. For example, students with 3 lots of level 5 SATs, which is quite a good achievement, an extraordinary achievement to be able to be that good in all 3 areas, English, Maths and Science. And then towards when the children have settled down, we do an online test called Midges, which has been developed by the University of Durham, and we've been doing this for a while now. And we do this just before Christmas in year 7, and what it does is it identifies their natural ability in 4 different areas: maths, vocabulary, non-verbal reasoning, which is the spatial kind of stuff, patterns and logic, and a 4th criteria called skills, which is said to indicate an aptitude for modern foreign languages learning. And we look at that against, it gives you an idea of where they sit in the national picture. For example, a score of 130 in one of the 3 areas, maths, vocabulary, non-verbal reasoning, would put a student in the very top 2% nationally, and that is the definition of mentally gifted. So that gives you an idea that you really do have a strong student, and we use that to show to alongside the SATs results to show us strengths and weaknesses of the gifted children. But it's very interesting because sometimes what you can get is a child that's naturally very able, and that's born through in the Midges test, but perhaps hasn't been as strong in SATs, and that could mean that they've perhaps not made the effort in class, been a bit disruptive at times, but are naturally very able. And that's always very interesting, because what you can do then is intervene, let teachers know that this child is a very able child, and look at how we can make sure that the potential shows through in academic success.
Do you have to have a minimum number, or are you limited to a maximum number?
No, I mean, you would probably look at your top 10% roughly of students. But if you have a really good cohort, you may decide to make the number slightly bigger than that. I don't think it can ever really be an exact science as such, because it's about giving opportunities to students as well as identifying them on a register.
Are there extra pressures, so to speak? Are these extra pressures put on students, or are these extra opportunities?
We like to see it as extra opportunities. We let the parents know that we've placed them on the register and why. And I'm doing a series of interviews at the moment with some of our Year 7 parents, just to make sure that coming to the end of Year 7 they understand not just that their child's on the register, but why, and some of the strengths and weaknesses we've already seen in them. And what we're trying to do is encourage parents to have greater aspirations for children as well. Sometimes in this area we do find that there can be a need to help children aspire a little higher. and think beyond the realms of Thurrock and look at career choices that are perhaps beyond what they thought was possible for them. And universities, some of, for example, the top Russell Group universities, and how they might find their way to making applications there one day.
Because we still have that statistic regarding the amount of students in Thurrock who don't go on to university,
to higher education,
or to higher education. So is that the proof of the pudding for gifted and talented pupils?
I guess that in the end what you're looking at is how many of them actually do make it into higher education, and particularly, as I say, some of those really long established institutions that really do look for the very best of students. We get some data back from various sources as to the destination of students, but it would be nice to be able to round that up a little bit more, because that's absolute proof that you've got the aspirations that follow through. I think the work we're doing now is really important, because what we also want to do is make sure the curriculum offers opportunities, because the biggest danger to the achievement of these students is frustration within the classroom from not being challenged enough, leading to underachievement and boredom, and then perhaps not even wanting to come to school because it's just not very exciting and interesting for them. So we're looking at enrichment activities. We've been running AS Maths, for example. I have a student in Year 9 who's just completed all of his modules of AS Maths, and will be moving on to A2 Maths next year, and that was an individual arrangement made for that student. A Year 10 girl who's working on AS Maths, a Year 9 girl who's taking AS Maths slowly, she doesn't want to hurry. A number of students in Year 11 will have finished their Maths GCSE at the end of Year 10, and will then go on to something like additional maths. And as the sixth form, we hope, looms closer, we can start to integrate some of these students into AS Maths within the sixth form as well, so that there'll be even more opportunities. And now we're looking, because AS Maths has been so successful and the acceleration within maths, we're looking at something parallel within English, so that for students who are really gifted in literacy would be able to finish their GCSE early and go on to something really challenging and exciting. It could involve some of the real old classics to extend their knowledge of Dickens, Chaucer, those sorts of authors from the past, or a modern AS. We're going to explore a few options and look at what we can do for them. So that will be our next mission, and then obviously we'll look at things like the sciences as well.